When Cyberpunk 2077 launched in December of 2020, it was one of the most anticipated and hyped up games of all time.
Cyberpunk.
And unfortunately, it was a huge mess. It was riddled with bugs and performance issues on consoles, with underdeveloped systems and an overarching feeling that what was promised was not delivered. Since then, CD Projekt Red has spent years rebuilding, expanding, and fundamentally reworking the experience. From massive system overhauls to entirely new gameplay features and a full story expansion, Cyberpunk 2077 today is a very different game than it was at launch. So, whether you've somehow never played Cyberpunk or bounced off during those early rough days, this video will catch you up on all the major changes, fixes, and additions made to Cyberpunk 2077 since launch.
We have a city to burn.
Like most games in today's age, Cyberpunk 2077 immediately saw small patches and hotfixes. While none of these early hotfixes added anything substantial to the game, they attempted to fix the mess that it was in. Even the more notable patches, patch 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, show CD Projekt Red tweaking and fixing things to make Cyberpunk a more playable experience. Nothing major was tweaked or added, but players were getting monthly updates to make Cyberpunk run a little bit better under the hood.
I was born here, I live here, and downright refuse to die anywhere else.
Patch 1.5 marked Cyberpunk 2077's true next-gen debut on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, and it was the game's first major content update. It's funny to think about that now, but the game was actually launched exclusively for the previous generation, with PS5 and Xbox Series X owners simply playing the PS4 and Xbox One versions with an unlocked frame rate. Now, players would get to experience a smoother, updated version of Night City. Updated for free, PS5 and Xbox Series owners were treated to ray trace shadows, performance and ray tracing graphics modes, and native achievements and trophies. PS5 owners also got access to activity cards and DualSense controller features like haptic feedback and built-in speaker callouts. Alongside performance improvements and ray tracing upgrades on PC, the update added new quality of life features players had been asking for since launch. For the first time, players could change certain aspects of V's appearance using mirrors for free. New apartments were added across Night City for an in-game price, each with unique aesthetics and locations. Enemy AI, combat balance, and crowd behavior were also noticeably improved, making the city feel more alive than ever. This was also the first of many patches that included features that would not be made available on previous gen versions of the game, such as NPCs joining in on combat when provoked. From here, there were countless changes to combat, traffic, NPC behaviors, graphics, UI, and menus. While each received small tweaks and additions, the shape of the Cyberpunk we know and love today started to form with this patch, which was a good thing, seeing as it was about 2 years old at this point. Patch 1.6 tied directly into the release of Cyberpunk Edgerunners on Netflix, which premiered on September 13th, 2022, adding anime-inspired content to the game. This update introduced 11 new weapons, new outfits, and 3 additional gigs inspired by the anime's story and characters. Speaking of outfits, a new wardrobe was added to V's apartment, allowing players to create 6 outfits using any clothing that they own. A brand new arcade minigame, Roach Race, was added to Night City via an in-game arcade machine, with an iOS and Android standalone version released as well. Cross-progression between platforms was also introduced, allowing players to cloud save their auto and manual saves to be loaded anywhere that they want to play. A performance mode was added to Xbox Series S consoles, allowing the game to run at 900p with dynamic scaling and a 60 FPS target frame rate. Patch 1.6 also marked the final major update for last-gen consoles, as CD Projekt Red shifted its focus fully to current-gen hardware moving forward. Cyberpunk would still be playable on PS4 and Xbox One, of course, but after September 2022, it no longer received any major tweaks, overhauls, or additions. Alright, it's time for the big one. Update 2.0 can more or less be seen as a full relaunch of Cyberpunk 2077, a peek behind the curtain at what CD Projekt Red was hoping the game would be at launch. The police system was completely rebuilt. Since this update, the NCPD now actively patrols the streets, chasing you on foot or vehicles. It sets up roadblocks and escalates to max TAC responses depending on your wanted level. Vehicle combat was also expanded, letting you shoot while driving, use mounted weapons, and even fight on motorcycles. Combat and progression were redesigned from the ground up. Enemy AI and net running were improved and rebalanced. Quick hacks and RAM costs were adjusted, and stamina now drained only during combat actions. The perk system was fully rebuilt with fewer, more meaningful perks, with a full refund of points for existing players, while skills were merged into 5 new categories: Headhunter, Netrunner, Shinobi, Solo, and Engineer, that level independently of attributes. Cyberware also became the main source of armor, with capacity limits, attribute scaling, and new upgrade options, meaning clothing is now largely cosmetic. Loot, vendors, and economy were also reworked. Enemies and loot now scaled with your level. Crafting and upgrades were simplified into a tier system, and vendors no longer sold crafting components or quick hacks. UI and quality of life improvements were added across the board, including a redesigned journal, cleaner menus, and new radio stations. Update 2.0 also brought major technical improvements, starting with the new PC requirements. It now required an SSD to run, and Projekt Red warns that playing on a normal hard disk drive can cause streaming issues. For PC users, NVIDIA DLSS 3.5 was added, including DLSS ray reconstruction for better ray-traced visuals, while AMD users got a new SMT toggle to optimize performance across different systems. Crowd density was moved into the graphics settings and now ties into presets, but can still be customized. And on consoles, performance mode was adjusted from dynamic 4K to dynamic 1800p to improve overall performance and image quality. In short, Update 2.0 didn't just patch the game, it completely rebuilt the core systems, making Night City feel more alive than ever. And the funny part is, I've only mentioned what Update 2.0 changed in the core game. I haven't even mentioned a tiny piece of DLC that launched alongside it.
This is it. Trust me.
You know I do.
Released alongside Update 2.0, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty was the game's first and only paid expansion, released only on PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. Set in the new district of Dogtown, Phantom Liberty introduced an entirely new spy thriller storyline. Alongside the new story and playable area within Night City, Phantom Liberty added notable new characters to the already stacked cast, including Idris Elba as FIA agent Solomon Reed and Minji Chang as the mysterious netrunner, Songbird. The expansion also added a new relic skill tree, with upgrade points coming from relic terminals found around Dogtown. It added new weaponized vehicles, new cyberware, new weapons, and also raised the level cap to level 60. The best part is that players could naturally enter Dogtown on their existing character, or start a fresh game with a pre-made character that starts them right at the expansion. Not only could this be used to begin Phantom Liberty right away, but it's also handy for people who wanted to start a new character without replaying the prologue. Phantom Liberty cemented Cyberpunk 2077 as a fully realized RPG experience, and was widely praised as a major comeback for the game. Projekt Red also mentioned that this was the final content update for the game, but if you see how much runtime is left in the video, you'll know that that statement was not accurate. Update 2.1 focused on immersion and role-playing features. Night City's long-teased NCART metro system was finally added, allowing players to ride trains across the city in real time. V could now invite their romance partners into their apartments for a special hangout session. Players could also listen to the radio while walking around the city, or riding the NCART train, which naturally transitions to the car radio when entering a vehicle. And finally, folks that had completed the Beast and Me mission are now allowed to take on repeatable car races, allowing you to earn eddies and vehicle discounts in the Auto Fixer website. Update 2.1 was much smaller than 2.0, but one that continued to flesh out every aspect of Night City. Update 2.2 leaned into customization and creative tools. Vehicle customization was expanded with crystal coat paint options across more car brands, including new dual-tone color schemes. Photo mode received a significant overhaul, adding new camera tools, NPC poses, and lighting options. Additionally, smart frames were added, allowing players to display their captured photos inside their apartments. Additional character customization options were also added, giving players more control over V's appearance than ever before. You can now use a slider to change how the randomizer worked, allowing you to control how plain or punk you want those presets to be. The most recent major update, Update 2.3, continued to add features that just improved the quality of Cyberpunk. Vehicles gained AutoDrive, allowing cars to drive themselves to selected destinations, complete with cinematic camera angles. Delamain's self-driving taxi service was expanded, and 4 new vehicles were added through side jobs. Photo mode, once again, was expanded, allowing you to change V's clothes based on what you saved in the wardrobe, alongside the addition of being able to include 27 new NPCs in your shots. Update 2.3 brought technical upgrades as well, including expanded upscaling support, VRR improvements on console, and official Mac support on Apple Silicon devices. Cyberpunk 2077's arrival on Nintendo Switch 2 is one of those ports that feels almost impossible, and yet it largely works. Night City holds up on Nintendo's newest hardware, with neon-lit streets and dense environments still looking good, even if they're not as sharp or smooth as on PC or current-gen consoles. Performance tops out at 40 FPS and can dip in busier moments, but it's stable enough that longtime Switch owners should feel right at home. With Phantom Liberty included and years of post-launch fixes baked in, the Switch 2 version is a genuinely solid way to experience Cyberpunk 2077, especially for players jumping in for the first time. For PC players, Cyberpunk has become a real showcase for cutting-edge tech. It supports modern upscaling and ray tracing workflows that keep Night City looking incredible without tanking performance. Cyberpunk also supports path tracing for the most realistic lighting and reflections, and the game continued to evolve with hardware-specific optimizations, like AMD's SMT toggle for better CPU performance, and updated Steam Deck profiles for improved stability. And while Cyberpunk 2077 now supports DLSS 4, there's no official DLSS 4.5 toggle in the game itself. So if you want that extra layer of upscaling, you'll need to rely on driver-level overrides and third-party tools for now. In short, Cyberpunk is still one of the best places to test the latest PC graphics advancements, and it's kept pushing forward long after launch. More than 4 years after launch, Cyberpunk 2077 has evolved into a drastically different game. Through massive free updates, system overhauls, and one major expansion, CD Projekt Red turned one of gaming's most infamous launches into a genuine redemption story. And while Phantom Liberty marks the end of major content updates, Cyberpunk 2077's legacy now stands as proof that even the roughest launches can still lead to something special. For more on Cyberpunk, check out one of the mini guides we've created for it over the years, and be sure to head on over to IGN.com, where we have an interactive map and an excellent checkmark feature, allowing you to keep track of your progress as you make your way through Night City. And of course, for everything on the future of Cyberpunk 2077, stick with IGN.
単純な表現しかできてないから笑いといえばコメディだし恐怖は